Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Effective Living Monday Night Conversation. And I am so excited to be here, as always, on the third Monday. I am your co host, Minister Carol Crockett, and have a guest that I've been waiting to get together and have a conversation with. Kim, I call her Kim, and I'll let her introduce herself. But before Kim starts, would you just do like or share so we can share this conversation with someone else or many other people? But we have a great topic tonight. But Kim, before I even give them the topic, would you just tell us a little bit about you?
Hello, guys. I am Kamira Brown Goodson. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, same as on any live or social platform media. I'm an advocate for domestic violence, women empowerment, and recently we started a new function for healthy heart and living.
Wow.
Um, Across the board, that I think it all just kind of ties in together, that we're speaking about our heart, how
Hmm.
we heal, how we live.
Hmm.
I have been doing this now for about 14 years. Uh,
Wow.
and it brings me so much joy to speak and share my journey with everyone,
Hmm.
especially now in this new season.
All
Um,
right.
and
Well,
you
well, thank you, Kim. And I know you got a lot to share, and some of those things I didn't really know about you. But tonight, and I'm glad you brought those things up because tonight, Kim, we have a conversation, and for our audience, I just want you to know that Coach Ricardo every Monday drops a blog for us to be able to read and interact with. And so, Kim, we're going to tie in what you're going to share as well as what Coach has dropped into our blog tonight. And so you can find that blog each week at Effective Living at www.ricardomiller.com. And so tonight we have the opportunity, Cam, to talk about live your life unapologetically. And I see you smiling because I know you have some things and we've shared some things. Like I love this is a conversation. And so we love just sharing with one another. But one of the things Coach talked to us previously about was how important it is to make a decision to declutter. And it said when you've made this decision to declutter, it creates some healthy habits. You kind of alluded to that a little bit. Healthy habits and finding your life is getting better in every area. And we focus on 5 areas in the effective living community. That is faith, fitness, family, finance. And I love the last one because I'm learning to do that, Kim. I'm learning to have some fun. So tonight, that's what we want to talk about. But Coach has challenged us in our life management coaching group. He's challenged us to raise the bar and be unapologetic about becoming the person God created you to be. So, Kim, what do you think that looks like? Living a life unapologetically.
um, I'll first say that when you hear the phrase unapologetically, to me it's without um, feeling sorry about
Mm,
what you choose to do.
mm-hmm,
Uh, with me, I first had to define uh, those that particular phrase.
mm-hmm,
For me, it just simply means that you're starting a whole new journey,
mm-hmm,
but you're not ignoring um, the the position that you're in, what
mm-hmm,
you're going through, what you're dealing with, your flaws. It just simply means to me that you're finally accepting the truths about
mm-hmm.
yourself,
Wow.
and it gives you. I love to say I got this from a very dear friend. Starting a blueprint of what
Mm,
you look for in your life, and just simply being unapologetically about manifesting in those new levels of your
right.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's simply what it means to me. Like, you're stepping out and you're doing some things, and you can't be sorry for not
Mm-hmm.
um, attending to everybody else's situation.
Mhm.
You're finally starting to focus on your own so that
Exactly.
you manifest in a more
Mhm.
healthier way.
Right. In
That's
a healthier way. And just like Coach says too, living unapologetic for him, he said it didn't come naturally for him. It was
right.
gradual. I love this. It was a gradual. And as he became older and understood himself and human relationship better, he said it's going to take some. I love this because he challenged us all the time. Anything we strive to do in order for us to strive and to survive and thrive, we've got to do the work. And so it is becoming more confident in you. And that's what I thought about too. You know, getting in touch with you.
Mhm.
You have to know yourself and be able to fully embrace all parts of you, the
All
good,
the
the
newness. Yeah.
bad, that in between. You have to be able to embrace that because really we are unique individuals. And so we have to learn to celebrate our uniqueness,
Yes.
celebrate our differences, celebrate sometime even when we have strengths and weaknesses. But, even not to be afraid and fearful to be, like you said, all God has called you to be. And Kim, I found that I can't be nobody better than being Carol Crockett. What do you think about that?
Exactly.
I can't be
That
anybody.
vulnerable side just kind of tends to come out every now and then. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, but still me. I'm still working on me.
yeah. Hmm. And to even think about that, you have to begin to understand that you, becoming unapologetically doesn't necessarily give you a free ticket to be cruel and mean and rude and ugly and nasty to anyone else. But I just kind of see it as my character even can be unapologetic if I'm doing the right thing and I'm doing
Right.
what God asked me to do. My character, my conduct, my conversation, all of
Correct.
those things tie into us being who God called us to be and not live a life, to live unapologetically for being who God called us to be. But what do you think about this, Kim? Sometimes, like you say, we have to sometimes step back and redefine and relook at who we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are still learning who we
Hmm.
are. What do you
Yeah.
think? Mm-hmm.
I that's the one thing that I took self-evaluation of. Um,
Mm,
looking at the things that I was going through,
mm-hmm.
things that say we go through life and we just take everything and we put it on a platter and it just sits there.
Oh.
So we don't look at it. It's just like I went through it, I put it in the bowl. I
Mm-hmm.
went through this, now I put it in the bowl. And for me, I had to take a moment and pull those things back out
Mm-hmm.
and look at, what did you go through?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going through? What
Mm-hmm.
are you going to do about these, certain situations?
Mm-hmm.
So to what you're saying, we have to redefine, or even like I say, simply just define what it is that you want out of that situation,
Mm-hmm.
what you want to pull yourself away from, and
Mm-hmm.
start building back on top of it. For some
Mm-hmm.
people, they're going to get rid of the whole thing.
Right. Because
Let
every experience we have is an experience that we're going to need. And so I always say this, there's really no waste, no matter how hard those experiences have been, there's
Yes,
no wasted experience. Because
no
I
wasted.
believe we can always, like Coach tells us all the time, you make a mistake, that can be a stepping stone to something else better or
Exactly.
greater, or not to go back and do that again, if nothing else.
Those keynotes, it's like, okay, I went through this at this time in my life.
Yes.
Don't go back and pick it up. I have this one thing that I tell my kids: you go through a situation and you find yourself a year or so behind it, and then all of a sudden something triggers you, or someone comes back into the picture, and
Mm-hmm.
you find yourself reconnecting with it. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, should I pick that back up?
Wow.
and
Mm-hmm.
and, and sometimes, even though we've gotten past it, that other person is still connected to it. You don't want to, and you, like I say, with that unapologetically moving forward, it's like you have to be able to say, this is not for me anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick it back up right now.
Right. And you said something else we talk about in this community quite frequently. We talk about even being able to have self-awareness, becoming more aware of who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
I laugh sometimes because even in joining this community, I'm 71, and it's a lot of things I had to go back and say, I never knew that about myself, because because I think sometimes as mothers and women, sometimes we get so involved with
Yeah.
those things that's outside of us, family, children. We want to take care of that. But I think sometimes I've said this, sometimes I felt like I lost who Carol actually was because you try to be a little bit over here and a little bit over there. So for me, this is a great conversation for me because I too have had to go back and read, even define or even remember, girl, this is who God called you to be. You can't be like nobody else. And so when you take that time, but it takes a moment for you to get to that place that you will even be willing to become self-aware, be willing to look at your journey backwards in the past in order to see where you are today. Because I think Coach had that on the today, where you are today as a result of some things that you've either thought about, talked about, or did that
Exactly.
have shaped and framed who you are today. So we
Yeah.
really do have to take time and stop. We can be busy, but take time, and I call it doing a little self evaluation, a
Yeah.
little bit of self awareness. But I said it's good to have some self care for you because that's really good. So you want to add anything to that one?
Um. Oh wow. You might say
Mm-hmm.
you have so many things on your mind. Where
Yeah.
do you go with it? I look at like you say, the evaluation of
Mm-hmm.
where you start yourself from.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for me, it takes that. I'm now becoming a single net. I mean, an empty nester. So,
Okay.
so I'm adding all that in when it comes to, like you say, the self care and the self evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
Of I'm moving from mommy to mother
Okay.
because they're going to be out on their own, and I got lost in uh,
Mm.
that transition of having the last one to prepare himself to leave the nest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having to find myself now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the biggest challenge that I have this year is
Mm-hmm.
redefining who I am, where
Mm.
I'm out to go, and
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do later on in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to that self care, as funny as I say, and I know there's plenty of moms and dads out there that go through the same thing. What do I do with myself?
Mm.
What do I do with
Mm-hmm.
myself? Where
Mm-hmm.
where where do I really want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And your mind is just in this whirlwind of I want to do this, this, and that. But
Mm-hmm.
how do you um like I said, it's always for me, it's about that blueprint. What do I want to
Mm-hmm.
how am I gonna take care of myself? I didn't see myself going into a health crisis just as the kids start leaving the house. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
see myself having to relaunch a business
Mm-hmm.
and at this time. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
Nobody foresaw, we didn't see the pandemic coming, and it
We
pushed us
didn't.
back. And so
Mm-hmm.
now, like, I haven't, for me, I haven't walked the whole release of the pandemic.
Okay.
It's now you got to jump into it. You
Okay.
know, you don't want to jump into it and make a lot of mistakes about it.
Uh-huh.
And then, oh, I'm sorry, I did
Mm-hmm.
this. Oh, I want to be able to prepare myself and be ready to get out there back into the community and
Uh-huh.
live and care of myself
Mm-hmm.
appropriately without feeling that I have overlooked anybody, especially
Mm.
family.
Yeah.
I understand that all the things that I'm doing right now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing for me.
And
And
you know what, Kim? Coach says this. He said, this is your season to do the things you enjoy and love yourself for who you are.
who you
Who
are.
you are, to love yourself. And like you said, yeah, there are some things we can't control. We can't control the pandemic. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then, like you just shared, you've had some health crisis. That's some things that's going to happen to us. But I love the fact that you're saying that you haven't given up on life. You are still trying to figure out. I love that when you said, I'm just trying to get the blueprint. So now the blueprint may have to be redone now
Done.
that you got you got this time to yourself. But I love what you said. You said, where do I fit in? So that means you got to revamp that blueprint a little bit, add a few things perhaps that we didn't expect, getting back,
Yeah.
relaunching a business. We didn't expect the pandemic, and we didn't, when that first happened, I thought we were going to be in and out of this thing about 6 weeks or 6 months, but that wasn't what God said. So,
I didn't
so
expect
even
2
with
to 3
that,
years.
we've all had to, you know, redefine the blueprint or make
Right.
the adjustments. We've all had to make some adjustments. And I think that's what we have to do. Because Coach also said, he said, once I understood your vibe attracts your tribe, it was easier to let go of trying hard to be like everybody else, understanding there are people who would be attracted to me. And that kind of helps you with your business, my personality, my character. He said this was liberating, and it helped him to become a better life management coach. So let's tackle that a little bit, Kim, because he's talking about what you attract, what what you your vibe, what you put out, what you give out. Those I love powerful words. So what you say can attract a tribe, and that tribe also can help you survive and then help you thrive even further. So we
Right.
have to know that even when we're going through some things, there's still some attractions going on that people will either gravitate to or they won't. And
Or they
Coach
won't.
tells this all the time, and I say this all the time. He always say, we're not called to everybody, you know? And so and that was a big one for me, that I'm not called to everybody, so I'm not going to attract everybody, but there will be somebody that will be attracted to me or to Kim as you're relaunching your business. And that, because of that, that has to become your tribe. And so have you found that to be an issue, as well as, like you said, talking about your children leaving the nest and relaunching your business? Have other people you've had to reach out to in order to get this business off the ground?
I have, and like I say, the new journey that I'm on
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with people pre-pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I see that, I say everybody is not gonna stay connected to you the whole.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So I had to readjust that. Like the organizations that I was involved in or
Mm-hmm.
connected to, they no longer fit in the category of where I am now. As
Mm-hmm.
I move on with heart health and healing,
Mm-hmm.
they're still doing their thing and they have to keep it going in that direction for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my direction is somewhere different now.
Okay.
So I'm learning to the understanding of the change. I call
Okay.
it complete change
Mm-hmm.
and getting out of comfort zones
Oh. Mm-hmm.
that I was once in that fit for them or the organizations or just family. Either way, I was in that comfort zone, and if I fit, I said we always try to have ourselves fit in a certain position to
Mm-hmm.
accommodate everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I'm coming out of that comfort zone, I don't I don't fit for them.
Mm.
And I found myself struggling with moving forward. I really did. I
Mm-hmm.
struggle with moving forward because I'm a nurturer. I'm a people person. I'm always wanting to please everybody, but I'm learning that you can't please everybody, and you can only stay in certain positions for so long. If that
Mm-hmm.
season passed, that season has passed.
Mm. And we do have to learn how to embrace those new
And,
seasons, because if
yeah.
not, it will keep us stuck, you know?
Hmm.
And like you said, that at the time before the pandemic, there were people that, you had kind of got comfortable with or depended on. And so now you are having to kind of start over or relook at some other people. But I think it does help push us outside of a limited box, because it is easy to get to stay in that little comfort zone, like you said, with our children, with our spouses, with our church family, and sometimes we put these limitations, or the limitations are there for whatever reason, and we have not, maybe God is calling us to reach out a little bit further.
Look, just go a little bit further past where you are. I need you to step outside. I'll give you this one nugget.
Step out the boat a little bit.
Yeah. It's all the time. I say the one thing that you never want to do is stay too long in your comfort zone, because it could very well be the danger zone for your downfall.
Oh, I love that, Kim. Your comfort zone can be your danger zone.
Your danger zone. Because we stayed there for so long thinking it's a perfect fit for everybody. But look at it. Everybody started moving past where they were, and you're still nurturing that one little area.
Wow.
But we need to get past that, because it's just like, okay, if X, Y, and Z are gone, and you're still sitting there with the L on your face, like, what's next for me? And I got stuck in that, and it was so frustrating, because I was so used to turning the wheel for everybody else to make sure that their stuff worked properly, or their advertisements went out properly, or their meetings were set up at the correct time, that it was like, okay, now what about you? What about Shikamir that you left behind because you were assisting everybody else?
Wow.
Your comfort zone is now put with your danger zone, and you don't even know where to go next. So
what? I remember when you started that, Shikamir, right?
Yes.
And so and I thought it was really, I thought it was great, but like you said, when you start looking at how you are putting out for everyone else, and not making sure that you're okay and where you're going to fit in. And I love what you said too, that it seemed like everybody was perfectly there, for everybody else. But where was the need for Kim?
Yes.
And your business that you were starting? And so it does take time. And sometimes I always say, sometimes we won't take the needed step or the rest that we need to reflect. But sometimes the Lord allows us in some circumstances that we might have been so blind to, because whatever was keeping us in deception or keeping us blinded, keeping us stuck, keeping us there, then we had to kind of be able to, something had to be removed so we could see a better place that we can go. And then, like you were just saying, you can't be apologizing now for where God has kind of allowed you to step back. And so you can step back so you can move forward, right?
That's it. I will say it's the pandemic. It to me, I say, if you don't walk out of the pandemic with something new at hand, you did not take advantage of the situation. And I go out, my heart goes out to every crisis that any had to deal with. But there were so many things to learn in the pandemic. And if you didn't take advantage of it, you're throwing away what God set and planted in you.
Wow.
And for me, I took that there was a moment that I didn't take advantage of it. I just enjoyed relaxing. It was like, I don't have to go into the office. I don't have to go into buildings that I don't want to go to. And I can't participate in everybody's activities right now. So I'm just going to take a minute and be lazy. But then I stepped back and I was like, you're being too lazy. What are you going to do with all this? There's an open-handed advantage to a lot of time that we had that first year just to reflect on what do we need? What do I need? What tools do I need to gather now that everybody's slowing down? People that I could connect with at first, now there's some doors opening because I can
Wow.
knock on the door and say, hey, how's everything going? Can I get a little bit of information from you? Can you, we're looking, for me, I started looking for mentors within the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Couldn't connect with that were too busy before. Now they slow down. Now, can I reconnect? Can I connect with you? So
Mm-hmm.
because I have some things that I want to change about my life soon, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a great asset to it. Now I
Mm.
didn't depend on them, but I definitely needed their input on a few
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm.
so that I can change. You know.
Yeah. And you know what? That's great you were able to recognize that. But just like you said, I think you just challenged us all. If we did not walk out of the pandemic with something different, something new, because like you said, it was worldwide, be still and rest,
Rest.
rest and like you said, a time for us to rest and get in tune with who we are, get
Yes.
in tune with what God called us to do. Hey, some of us had to go back and really get in tune with what God wanted us to do on a
Oh yeah.
one-on-one, to
Yeah.
develop that personal relationship again, or like he said, stir up. He had to stir up something in us
Yeah.
that we had just
Make
kind
you
of,
think about it.
yeah, make you think about, make us hear him, make us listen, because sometimes we can get so busy doing things that's busyness, but it has nothing to do with doing the things that God asks us to do. And I found that
Right.
sometimes, I don't know about you, but even learning to say no, you
Learning to
know,
say
learning to
yeah.
say no. But
Yeah.
but when like I said, I prayed. That was some things that I kept hearing. When we come up out of this pandemic, we
Yeah.
know that we, not only individually but collectively, as a body of Christ, as people in general, we
Yeah.
need to look and see how we need to come out differently. There are some things,
Yeah.
like you say, we can't go back and keep doing the same old thing and
Exactly.
think you're going to get a different result. So a lot of things had to change, and it was through the pandemic. Look at this social media stuff, how it's just gone
Oh
all
yeah.
over the place, simply because we had to learn a different way of communicating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Our company was I worked for a large Fortune 500, company, and everyone worked in the offices. Well, several months into the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
they had to make like a huge decision to say, we're going to shut down 75% of our buildings. And this was even after the pandemic, a year after we've gone into it. They're still having to recalibrate that
Mm.
that and to me it was social media opened up it to me. It, like I say, it definitely opened up a door because
Mm-hmm.
it helped them to see, like I say, we're all learning something new within this pandemic. What can we walk away from? Because before it was like, no, we're not letting anyone work from home.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not feasible for us.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have almost 95% of our
Wow.
employees working from home. And this is
Mm-hmm.
a large company. I'm not going to give out the name, but
Right. It's a large company. Mm-hmm.
but that said, with 100% of, with 95% of our people now working from home,
Mm-hmm.
um, that was the newness. That's what our company had to learn,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can really have a lot of people working from home, and
Mm-hmm.
we're more effective in what we're doing now than we were when we were working in the office.
Wow. So
We
they
don't have
see.
to worry about people being away from the office due to illnesses or a child sick or
Mm-hmm.
car situations. We
Mm-hmm.
have the opportunity to now work with people to build something better.
Wow. That is so
Not
good.
10%, we're 100 and we're 150% better than we were before the pandemic. So
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. And that's what, and that's what, being having a life that's unapologetically your company, the same thing, not having to apologize, because now they see a new and a better way that
yes.
cancel out those old ways of people coming into the office. And like you said, and look at the doors that open up. Parents can stay at home with their kids, and if they're sick. But here's the funny part: I'm not sure how education. I'm a
Oh
retired teacher, so I'm not really sure about how that pandemic has helped our educational system. And so I
oh
see
my
us. still trying to revamp, a little bit. Well,
That's
see them.
yeah. You heard a lot of people saying on social media, now I see what these teachers were going through.
Yeah,
And, and
now listen, that was a newness because sometimes I've been had parent conferences and they didn't understand, and the babies were just perfect, and it must
right.
be you teachers and all that stuff. But I believe that's a newness that parents
Oh,
got
oh yeah.
because they were able to be at home and see what their children were doing. But like you were saying too, being unapologetically about us, about who we are, and
Right.
and being able. Coach talked about that. What what liberation it is to be able to know that you can attract like-minded people. You can allow and have, you don't have to apologize for. He talked about having to apologize for how he dress, how he speak, how you show up, how all those things. And now you can be in a community if you choose to be unapologetically and begin to look for
Right.
those people, reach out for those people that I say like-minded people. But also, I don't know about you, but in my community, I want people who are in my community that will tell me the truth, that
Yes.
will not allow me. If you see me doing something wrong, I want you to be the person that can come to me and
Yes.
say that, because I feel like that's still part of being the community, and that is still attracting like-minded people without
Right.
necessarily having those negative naysayers in your
Yeah.
life. So, but just know, like Coach says here, that even having, like you're having to build a new community of people that's going to be able to assist you in some areas, but that's what you really want. You want to find a community of people who have the same thoughts, and same thoughts, but not all exactly identical, but
Right.
like-minded, moving in the same direction, wanting to not be stuck. Like you were saying,
Mhm.
that can become a place where it could be, I think, for lack of a better word, burden for you to be in that same place, or dangerous is what you said. You
Yeah.
can stay complacent, and that can become you don't want to stay in a community of people that want to keep you
Keep
in
you,
that,
yeah,
in
stuck.
that.
We're we're all stuck together. You don't, I can't stay where I am because I've gained a lot more knowledge. And I think that's where I went with a lot
Mhm,
of during the pandemic. I
mhm.
I, I took up extra courses
Okay.
online. And my mindset shifted. So by the time we were able to start reconnecting, I needed to find, like you said, a new tribe. Had to find
Hmm.
a community of people
Hmm. Hmm.
that were going to help me continue to get past where I am. I'll share
Hmm.
with you now. A lot of people that I've shared about my heart condition,
Hmm.
and for me, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I
Hmm.
studied a lot during this
Hmm.
timeline that
Hmm.
we've had.
Hmm.
Um, I've started learning more how to eat better.
Mm.
I needed to connect with the right people that can give me the right information, because we can look online and we can read 1,000 things, but what's correct versus what's incorrect. And I
Mhm.
never want to be the one to go out and give them anything. So a lot of people that thought that I was going to stay, like you say, stuck in that position with them,
Mhm. Mhm.
I needed to move past. And I lost a lot of friends. I won't
Mhm.
lie.
That's
You know,
okay.
I but hey, those are the ones that God said if they leave, they're
Mhm.
not for you anymore.
Mhm.
That they're out.
Coach,
And
excuse me, but Coach says that all the time, honey. Growing trees gonna lose some leaves, but go ahead and
exactly,
finish.
I a lot of leaves. I
A
lost
lot
a
of
lot,
leaves, and sometimes it's healthier to lose those
but I'm
leaves.
healthy. Exactly. And but what I gained from that is I've become more open
Mhm.
for myself. I've become more understanding
Mhm.
of myself, because I had a lot of people in certain circles that didn't tell me things about myself. Like
See.
you said, I
Mhm.
want to be that type of person. If you see something wrong with me, and I'm grateful for the community that I was completely locked in, that
Mhm.
were wanting to, they'll inbox me and say, "Hey, I didn't quite understand that." Okay,
Mhm.
that it makes me learn a little bit more. Now I can
Mm-hmm.
research what I did wrong, let me fix it. But then you have those that just sit back and they just look. But
Mm-hmm.
then they'll be the ones that shake their fingers and say, see, if you hadn't,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
like, no, I want to always be the one to grow. So if it means that I have to lose some of those
Mm-hmm.
leaves and
Mm-hmm.
separate myself from a tribe that I was once in,
Mm-hmm.
I have to be okay with it.
Hmm. And as you grow, and that's what we talk about in this community, as you grow, you want others to grow. Like I love what you said that you had an opportunity, you took time and studied. And we are big in this community about learning. We're like, we want to be lifelong learners because that
Right.
is so important. And what is it, leaders or readers and that kind of thing, because there, like you say, there's information that's out there that's not good, but you
Yeah.
continue to read some things and you can kind of sift through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you need people who, like you said, who's going to be in your tribe. And even with you taking on the health thing, that's one of the big things we talk about
Mhm.
in our community: fitness and health. And so, when you learn something and you're willing to share that with other people, there, like you say, there are going to be some people going to say, girl, I'm just going to eat me some fried chicken and some French fries, and I ain't going to no gym, so and if you're
Yeah.
trying to live healthy, there may be some leaves right there that you're going to have to lose in order
Yeah.
to keep your mindset and get with people that are thinking health wise, thinking, in that community where you had some health issues with your heart, people who've proven that they know what to do to keep that heart healthy
To
and
keep that
take
heart. Yeah.
responsibility for your, we have to take responsibility for our health,
Right.
period, as well. But I love that you were, able to do that. And it just don't happen in the health community. As people see you growing and they see
Mhm.
something different about you, they can't put their fingers on it, but all they can do is say,
But all
you
they can
know
say is something different.
something is different, but I think that living that life being unapologetically takes you back and remind yourself that I'm okay where I am. And because where I am, if I'm not habitually hurting people on purpose and those kind of things, I
Right.
have to be okay. And I can't allow, because you want to stay stuck and in that danger zone, that you're going to pull me down and keep me stuck, because I truly believe God has so much more for us in front of us than we have
Exactly.
experienced in the back. So but if we want to live that life, effectively, it is going to take us getting to a place where we're not apologizing for this new level of knowledge that Kim has gotten,
Exactly.
because she said in the pandemic, look, Kim, you sat there, you read, you did the work and gained some information. Why should you apologize?
Exactly. And that's really like one of my main goals, that I'm constantly working toward right now is, like you say, when I heard the word unapologetically, I have been, it's like each month since
Mm,
I found out about my heart disease has been that neck, like you say, the stepping stones to
mhm,
say,
mhm.
I had to learn to stop saying I'm sorry that I
Oh.
can't, but and replace it with, this is what I have to do now.
Mhm.
Regardless of what you did, like I had a lot of people, and there was a community that I was in where they worked out adamantly. They were about dancing to lose weight and to stay healthy. Um, when my heart disease hit me, I can no longer do. I can barely do 20% of what I used to do.
Okay.
Walking
Mhm.
for me is, this year alone, in the last 6 months, has been the greatest challenge for me since the
Mm,
pandemic started.
mhm, mhm.
I could walk, and I could walk for 2 to 3 hours and I'm just fine.
Okay.
Um, I'll share with being on the platform at church.
Mhm,
That was a big downfall for me. But I had
mhm.
learned to say to a lot of people that wanted me to come out to their events and perform and sing, I'm sorry. That was my little thing. I'm sorry I can't, but right now I'm working on me. I'm
Mhm,
working on it.
mhm, mhm,
And if
mhm.
it means that I have to step back from some things in order to get to that healthier position of me
Right.
again,
Mhm.
I'm going to take that time and do it. There were a lot that understood,
Right.
but there were so many more that
Who
didn't.
didn't? Hmm. And
And I
you
do
said
not
I'm
apologize.
about talking about I'm. We got to get to the place that I ain't sorry anymore.
Yeah, I'm
But this
not
is
sorry
just my health. This is just what I need to do for Kim
for
in order for Kim to be healthy. And so I can't apologize
yeah,
for the newness that I've had to take. And
yeah.
if you don't understand it, then that's a leave you're gonna have
That's
to
it.
lose.
That's it.
Just a
Hey,
leaf you
you
got to
live you,
lose.
and I'm
Hmm.
gonna live me. But I guarantee you, as you watch me live me, you'll see
Uh,
a healthier me
I
as I
love
get
it.
pro. I mean,
Watch me live me.
I'm enjoying. I'm definitely enjoying this new journey that I'm on,
Hmm.
connecting with people.
Hmm.
And it feels good. It
It
feels good to
does. Hmm.
be able to
Hmm.
be me because I was holding myself. I held myself hostage, trying
Wow.
to forward to everything and everybody else's
Hmm.
positions,
Right.
to where I got to just be me.
Right. And Coach says too, living unapologetically means being true to
Being
all of who you are and listen and letting go of what others might think. And that's kind of where you're saying you are. And I think that is very true for all of us. That he
yeah,
says, I want to encourage you right now. And like he said, he's challenging us to live unapologetically. That is a challenge that we're all going to have to, work toward. But he says he want to encourage us that moving forward, you will not try to shrink, fit
mm-hmm.
in, or be exactly the same as everyone else because you are different for a reason. And you
Exactly.
got to learn how, girl, I love this. You got to learn how to embrace your differences.
You're different.
Don't shrink.
Yeah,
Don't try to fit in where you can get in. Just try to be you, and be exactly, and don't, be exactly like someone else. Like I said in the beginning, I, I can't be Kim, but Kim can be the best Kim can be. And I
yeah,
love the fact that, I don't have to shrink down because I'm not a certain person, or you don't have to shrink down because you're not a certain person. You just have to learn how to embrace
embrace it.
all every we somewhere we were talking about quirks today, I think on the morning show on our effective living coaching group, and we were talking about God even knows all our little quirky things. He
Oh
made those,
yes,
and so why can't we embrace those, because how crazy would it be if all of us look alike, thought alike, walked alike, talked
walk
alike?
the line.
What reason would he have to have uniqueness
Yeah,
if we were all that? He said we were uniquely and wonderful. And I know we say that, but if we can embrace that, how
yeah,
unique we are, how he met, I mean, he strategically, Kim, made each one of us strategically.
particularly different.
He
Oh
knitted us
yeah,
together. And I love it. It says in Genesis, it talked about one of the translators saying he even fashioned Eve. So he fashioned us girls to be who he
yeah.
called us to be. So
I'll say when you say that, I was having a thought the other day about boundaries
uh-huh.
and how that ties in. It says when our boundaries will reposition us in life.
Ooh.
And for me, I say you have at one point in time, you're the acceptor. You'll accept any and everything that everybody dishes out to you.
Mm-hmm.
When you set boundaries, you become the enforcer of
Ooh,
what
I
you
love it.
accept, how you want to do it, how you want to live it, and what
Mm-hmm.
you're going to accept. But as long as we stay trapped behind it, you're not working on your boundaries. When you're going to
Wow.
set your and just be okay with just saying, this is how I want to now live my life. I think for me, I did fear at one time about um, how people would look at me when I changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to question, what do you think about this?
Ugh.
We're always asking permission to do something in our life when it comes to that change. And
Mm-hmm.
saying what you were saying, and I just said the boundaries. I had
Mm-hmm.
to really work on boundaries and enforcing what I'm
Mm-hmm.
about.
I
And
love that. Mm-hmm.
unapologetic, like, okay, well, I used to wear my hair in the bun all the time. Well, now I want to wear my hair down. Well, okay, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go back to my hair bun.
Mm-hmm.
And people always question, why are you go? It's just me.
Right.
And I'm going to be sorry for the way that I want to change
Mm-hmm.
myself.
It
Or when to speaking the way I speak.
right.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be sorry for speaking the way that I
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will be respectful
Right.
of your feelings, but I'm not going to be sorry for the way that I feel and what I want to do about myself now.
That is so good. And I absolutely love what you said, those boundaries. And you do not have to get permission, Kim.
Not a,
You don't have to get
not
permission to
one.
be you. Why? And then, like you said, setting those boundaries. And you know what, Kim? I believe we have to set the boundaries, but we got to know the boundaries that we set.
That we
Because
set.
if not, I always say, you know the boundaries, but if you got a limit and you let people push you to the limit and you're right at the
Exactly.
boundary line, you got to know when to stop that limit that they are pushing, because
Yes.
people will push, and before you know it, they don't cross your boundary line, and like you say, you've allowed them to do
And,
that.
and it and then at that point, it takes you back to where you first started from, because it's like you didn't stay on the enforcer side of the whole
Right.
thing,
Oh
and
yeah.
people have pushed you to the limit to where now you're breaking. And for me, I never want to get to that point again where
Hmm.
I allow people to break me
Right.
over my boundaries and my limits for what
Hmm.
I want to affect in my life. And that
Right.
was the challenging part. It's a continuous
It is.
change,
It's continuous.
that we have to stay on top of. I don't want to get complacent to where I just forget what I'm aiming for, because then they just, like I said, it'll set me back into the danger zone. I don't
Right.
want to go to the danger zone and then have to explain to the new group
Hmm.
of why I'm redoing what I'm doing. Well, see, I
Right.
used to do it this way and I fell back
Hmm.
into it. Now I need to change myself
Hmm.
again.
Hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, that's gonna affect you. No, I don't want
Hmm.
sorry. I just
Right.
want to be able to know this is what I'm working on.
And
I hope that we can continue to connect and work
right.
together level. If
Hmm.
not, I do appreciate your time.
And I'm
That's
okay, and you can be okay, and we can
I'm
walk
okay
away
with
being okay with that.
sometimes.
And what you were just saying is talking about those boundaries. And for me, it's been finding my voice,
Yeah.
because have you ever heard a person that will finish your sentence for you or tell your story before you can get it out because they know your story?
Oh yeah.
And so I had to learn to be unapologetic when I ask you, I don't want to share that, or I'm okay. Don't share. Let me
Yeah.
have my voice. I mean, because I have a voice that if nothing else, I want to hear it. And former Secretary Madeleine Albright, she just passed away too. And I love what she said about use your voice. She said it took
Yeah.
me quite a long time to develop a voice. And
Oh,
now that I have it, she said, I am not going to be silent. So for me, I am not going to allow you to speak for me
for
on
me.
my behalf when God has allowed me to have this voice that I can, give. And it may sound quirky and I might bust a few vowels and whatever, but that is my voice. And we have to learn to be okay with that, because we don't all talk the same. And so, but the point is somebody listening? Can I learn something from somebody? And
Yeah.
can I share something that can help somebody? So that to me is really important as far as living a life unapologetically, like you said, finding those boundaries and setting those boundaries. And I love what you said, that you are the one that are enforcing that.
Enforcing.
We got to
Yeah.
set the boundary, but you got to enforce something. So I
Yeah.
love that. And we don't need permission to be us, to be all God called us to be. And we
Right.
don't need to but we don't have to be rude
Yeah.
and
Be
negative.
polite about it.
Yeah, you can be polite. Respectful is what you said
Yeah.
too. And I really like that. So some of the things that Coach suggested we can do the things that fill you with joy. He said, do some things that's going to fill you with joy. And I share with them all the time. The fun part is what I'm learning to do in my life. you know, sometimes we can get so serious and we forget to have fun. So I'm working on that one. And listen, when it comes to wearing your bun, wearing your hair down, wearing what you want to wear, if it feels good
Exactly.
for you, sister, do it. Okay. Because
It
it
makes
says,
you feel
he
great.
said, wear what makes you happy, you know?
Yeah,
And then I love this one. He says, chase your passion, Kim, and follow your heart. Chase
exactly.
your passion and
I love
follow your heart, you know? And that's what we want to do in this community. I got my little shirt on. We're trying to live a life that we don't need a vacation
it.
from. But you know what? It doesn't mean that I can't take a vacation. It just means that I can take that vacation when I want to take it
When I
and
want
not
to.
have to feel like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so depressed. I'm so overwhelmed that I've got to take a vacation. So I love our community because he reminds us of that all the time. And then he says, we only got how many lives to live? One life to live. And he said, live your life hard, but live your life crazy. The crazy part would be for me to have some fun and stop being apologetic. Like you said, stop
Yeah.
saying you're sorry for being who you've been called to be, and just learn that we can be the best. We want to be the very, I want to live these next years of my life being the very best that
Yes.
God called me to be. But I want to, in the process, I want to be learning. I want to be growing.
Learn, laugh,
If it means I
feeling
got to get a new
good.
tribe to thrive, I need to do
Yeah.
that. And you know what? Don't be fearful. And he talks to us all the time about don't be afraid to take a risk, you know?
Yeah.
And if you take the risk and you make a mistake, you know, that doesn't really
At
define
least you
who
can
you
try it
are.
again.
You
That's a
can
step.
try it again.
Take
Yes,
that step.
absolutely. Well, Kim, listen, promise me we'll do this again, that we'll come
I
back
would love.
together and do this again. Before we close, I want you to tell everybody, I can't think you kind of started out sharing with people where they can find Kim. Kim, I don't say your name because I don't want to mess it up, but I just go with Kim Amira, right?
Yes. Come
So
here. Yes.
she's Kim to me. We've done a lot of things together in the church, and so we've just been sisters and
Yeah.
been waiting to have this conversation for a while. But Kim, it's so much more I know that we share personally, but I want us to come back together again and share our conversation again. But tonight has been great, and we too want to walk
You.
away knowing that we can live a life unapologetically. So Kim, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on social media platform, Facebook and Instagram at Shikamir Empowerment, Heart Health and Healing.
Wow. And I'm going to look forward to connecting with you. So tonight, guys,
Forward to it
we
also.
we pray that you've had something shared with you. But if we don't do anything else but share with you, you want to live a life unapologetically. You want to live a life doing the things that you want to do. You want to find some joy. You want to be able to wear what you want to wear and be able to know that you can live your best life now, because not like Coach said, today is the only day that's promised to us, well, that we're in. That's all. And we have to live every day. I'll say this every day, like it's going to be your last day. And don't live a life that you can look, want to live a life and look back and say, I regret I didn't do this. I
Exactly.
regret all the regrets. We don't want to live a life of regret. And if we can start now living a life unapologetically and understanding that I don't want to look back over my life and wish that what was that thing we say? I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. But thank you so much, Kim. And I
Thank
look forward
you.
to seeing you. And we will see you all, some of you in the morning. And we will look forward to next Monday night where we have another outstanding co-host on Effective Living with Monday Night Conversation with our host, Ricardo Miller.